live and I start to try to time the introduction perfectly, it cuts off half the sentence. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to So Many Levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah!
Yay! Woo! I am Christiana Ellis. I am the Dungeon Master, and tonight we have all four of our players. Mark Guilfoyle as Alaric, the Dwarf Fighter.
How's it going?
Although you've now taken a new level in Rogue, too. So still fighter / rogue, but more rogue now than before.
This whole
More
water
rogue than
thing
ever.
has gotten to me. I kind of like the water now.
You roguish dwarf.
And we have Starla Hutchton as Nira, the Elf Cleric.
Greetings and citations.
Vivid Muse as Amethyst, the Human Druid.
Good evening.
And Chooch Schubert as Otterkey, the Tiefling Paladin.
Hello, hello.
You guys did some stuff last time. It was a big arc-closing boss fight. As you guys finally, after having closed the portal that allowed the Mind Flayers to infiltrate the Kuatoa's homeland, you returned to your own plane to find that the spirit of Lake Elamon is not happy with you. You kind of could see that coming, given that you had definitely done this whole plan against its specific command. But regardless, it seemed prepared to kill you, execute you for it, and the fight was difficult. But then the Kuatoa, realizing what you had done for them, and realizing now that the spirit of Lake Elamon was not on their side in terms of what they actually wanted, they used their power, their ability to process spiritual energy to sap the spirit's strength and give some back to you, giving you a fighting chance to take out this eons old spirit. And you did!
Like a boss.
Yes. Alas, the whole effort unfortunately cost the life of Labely the Storyteller, one of your Kuatoa allies. But her spirit was able to hold on just long enough to give you guys the choice. Spiritual energy can't be just destroyed, and so the death of this extremely powerful spirit, that energy had to go somewhere. And so you were offered the choice of whether to create a new spirit as powerful as the old one, hoping that it would be nicer, or to have the energy be distributed far and wide. And that was what you chose, choosing to not have such power concentrated in that way. And so you saw the energy dispersed everywhere, all over the place, and one little spark of it landed near you as a new little spirit who just said, "Hi, I'm new here."
Didn't we name him?
Elamini.
We did give him an
In honor of the aspect of the spirit of Lake Elamon that had helped you, the part of it that did want to help you, which had been, the big spirit said it was destroyed, but it had been there. So in any event, you guys are still at the bottom of the lake, but you have now been blessed with the gift of the Kuatoa that you are now permanently able to breathe water anytime you want, and you are able to speak their language.
And swim.
And swim, and have a swimming speed equal to your normal movement speed. And so you and your halfling companion, Andri, are still kind of all there at the bottom of the lake, and we don't necessarily need to play out this whole scene. It was kind of what we brushed through at the end of the last time. But you guys all received a burst of energy there at the end, so that's how we're going to justify that you're all level 9 now.
Yay!
I feel so much smarter now.
And so we'll go ahead and say that kind of counts for the long rest, essentially. So you guys are are full up and spell slots and all of that sort of business. You do get a chance to say thank you and goodbye and you're welcome and all of those good things to Antiblio and Bala, your other Kuatoa allies. But the Kuatoa...
Holy crap. They understand us now.
Yeah.
We can speak their language.
With them now.
They are very grateful, but they are also in a hurry. They feel like with an intelligent enemy like the Mind Flayers, they want to take advantage of this move immediately and not give them time to regroup. And so they are planning to just essentially pour right through the portal, and they're going to leave right now. And so it's up to you as they all pass through whether you're going to close the fissure behind them or not.
Yeah.
I think we have to. So,
Yes.
Amethyst, have you had a chance to close one of these yet?
Why, no, I haven't.
I thought, since we've all kind of had our moments, and we're not in a huge hurry, so it's not like just get there. I thought perhaps you could do the honors this time.
So
Here,
is
here.
the fissure up in the air, or is it like...
Well, so you are all in at the bottom of the lake, and specifically, there was a deep crevasse in the bottom of the lake. That's where the fissure was. But as part of the whole battle with the spirit, the Kuatoa essentially used their spiritual energy to create this pocket of air down there where the fissure is, and so that's still where you are now. You get the sense that this pocket will disappear once you close the fissure and sever the connection to that energy from the Kuatoa. But you can all breathe water now, so you have no fear for that.
Are we still doing that though? I mean, you know near as well as I do what the Fey lady said. You're muted.
My bad.
Well, given.
I don't think we have a choice in this. Because if we have a lot to discuss as a group. Alaric and I had a very strange experience. And we learned some things that aren't particularly settling. But I think we just have to keep pushing forward as we have been.
I mean, this one's undefended now. I mean, there's some danger that on the other side the Kuatoa won't win against the mind whatevers, squid faces. But if they did, they'd be an ally. And they'd help this area probably too.
I don't think they're coming back. Like, that's their home.
If they fail, then this world will get invaded.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Problem is we close these things and we get closer and closer to other bad things coming back.
Well, we just gotta roll with the punches and take it as it comes, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what else can we do?
It's up to you. We got to talk to some people, I think, about, well, the hell this all means, but...
Nothing but evils come from these things.
Yeah, that's the
I
problem.
prefer to close them.
So while they're talking, I'm just going to walk over to the fissure and I'm going to hip check it with my left butt cheek because that's where I got hit.
Yeah.
That's where it landed.
So as you hip check the fissure, you feel the energy of this fissure coursing through the fragment of this artifact that is embedded in you, and feel the energy course through you, and then it's gone. And you see the sort of tenuous surface that had gone around you start to wobble, and then all the water collapses down around you, and it's sort of startling, but you're
that's
fine.
cold.
So I just blow him a kiss and I smile and I breathe my water breathing and I float or whatever. I guess we're swimming speed now. We're swimming.
You notice as you kind of look around that there is a handful of small, strange creatures that you suspect are small water spirits that are just kind of watching you, not necessarily speaking. A couple of them swim away now that the bubble is gone.
I guess they probably won't get corrupted by that thing anyway, too.
Right.
Another reason to close it.
Yeah.
Well, unless we're going to go back and reopen the ones we've already closed, we need to get more information, in my opinion, before we change what we're doing. So,
I think we may have to go yell at Malacanth for a little bit.
oh,
Words.
I have a desire to get this rotted shell out of our bag and the stolen moment into it, because I don't trust her anymore. I mean, I didn't trust her, but now I just want the stolen moment out of her hands.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys have a better idea to leave it there, if you guys trust her that much, but until I understand fully what her intentions are moving forward, it's pretty confusing.
She might not even know. I mean,
It almost seems that she knows less than we do at this point.
Ignorant people doing ignorant things,
And we left her with the stolen moment.
artifacts they don't understand.
Right. So I say we correct that.
Do we swim to town or swim to the ferry platform or
Well,
swim to the direction of
I guess go up. I mean,
Villanocta?
We see what
I
up
think I
looks
can
like.
swim
again.
faster than I can walk now.
it is a long way to the top. I guess just go up and see what's up there. Maybe we should consider sending the ferry back or taking it back, or maybe we don't want to deal with that mess. Just
Other
leave it
people might
there.
need some help.
Andrew kind of points
what
out,
I
it's like,
mean.
well, I think the spirit was driving it before. I don't even know. Do we know how to? Does it even have controls?
I mean, we could paddle it back to the town, but if we need to ascend anyways, I say we ascend in the direction of Villanocta and
Couldn't we ask?
head straight out.
Couldn't we ask
do you know
Alan,
which
maybe
direction
some of his
it is?
friends to do it? Maybe they would do it and continue that job.
Are you?
Yes, we could.
Is
Are
that
you,
even a
are you
problem?
pointing or referring to the,
Yeah,
the
canoe-
one little
canoe
spirit has
guys.
not really been conversing with you, but just kind of watching.
I guess we could ask some if they would be interested and find it amusing.
Okay. I mean, I don't know that I think is it really our
It's
situation?
not
to
our
resolve?
business.
I
That'd
don't
be a
know.
nice gesture for
Probably
those
just
people,
not.
though.
I would.
We rid them of a foul evil. We've done them enough.
Well, and we don't know if they will agree that it was a foul evil.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to thank us.
Isn't there a wagon back there? Where the hell
We
did
do
do
have
with
to go get
wagon?
our horses, don't we?
Where the hell did we leave that?
Oh yeah, I guess you do.
We have to go back. Wait, didn't we leave them on the boat?
We left them on the barge.
All right. It's been a while.
I guess we need to find it.
See if we can.
Did I? Oh, I didn't prepare.
Did you bring your horses onto the boat?
I
on
don't
the ferry?
remember bringing them onto
I
the
don't
boat,
think
but
you did.
We definitely rode them into town, though.
Yeah,
didn't
you
we?
rode them into town, and then you basically
You could tie them up
left
somewhere.
them
We
at that
tied
one
them.
house that you were hiding in.
We always tied them up
Yeah.
to Chooch's. I'm sorry, Archie's war horse, though. So they would be with his war horse.
Usually.
Yeah.
No, I think we
you
did.
guys recognize though that it's been probably 24 hours plus since then.
So where did we leave the war horse? Because hopefully the horses are still there.
Can you locate it,
Well, I
Archie?
can reach
it-
out. Maybe. If he's
Archie
within
lost
the mile.
consciousness at one point. Or, no, I'm sorry, you didn't. You were one of the ones that sailed through your vision. So never mind.
So if it's within a mile, I can try to reach out.
Horse star.
You do not detect it, leading you to believe that you're probably more than a mile away.
This lake is
Too
really
far.
deep.
Too far.
Yeah.
Too far.
Well, it was very big too. Remember, you sailed almost to the middle of it before on the ferry before descending.
So
So I guess attempt to
begs
swim
another
towards
question.
town.
that makes me wonder if, with the power of Elamond, dispersed, has the lake shrunk, or has it receded at all?
Makes sense, but we won't know until we see it.
Well,
Looks
if
the
they
same
have
from
the
here.
collective power, it might be the same.
Well, I
The
guess
portal's gone
no,
up,
we're
too.
nowhere to go but up from here, right?
And surface.
All right.
Yeah.
Start swimming.
Season daylight, or whatever day this is.
So you're just swimming your, which is fine. That will work. It will
Yeah.
just, you are very deep. It will take a while.
What about how amethyst conjuring animals? Would that make this go faster, or
Sharks are
would
pretty
I
fast.
think our swim
Yeah.
speed's faster.
You probably
Mine's
each have
not.
a swim speed of like 25 or 30 feet.
I think the sharks are faster.
Yeah, I'm looking now.
Oh,
yeah,
when the
30
boons were granted, it said full movement speed underwater.
Yeah, so 30 feet from
Right.
me.
25.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
for
I
Andrea
see.
and-
I see. I see. Yeah, I think the tiger sharks were 40.
What about Alamini? I don't know what kind of character these people have.
So the hunter sharks are 40, but now we need reef sharks. They're also 40, and I can summon enough for us. So assuming I have a spell slot, I'm going to conjure some sharks.
All right.
Easier to ride than the horses.
Reef sharks, please. How many of us are there, Andrew?
Yeah, it's just the 5 of you with
Okay.
Andrew. Yeah.
Cool.
So you summon those sharks, and this spirit that you have dubbed, Elamini 2, which, as you recall, looks like sort of like a slightly humanoid-ish frog, but with these strange sort of like cape, almost wings that are watery looking, that are kind of folded around it almost like a cloak. But as you cast and summon these sharks, they spread out more like wings again in alarm, but then it just kind of cool.
They're with her. I'll point to Amethyst.
Okay.
So, who's this? We know.
This was so when the spiritual energy was dispersed all over, you saw little sort of sparks of light fly out all over the place, and one landed near you and became this little spirit.
Right. I'm
think-
looking to them saying,
Oh.
are we gonna, is it
Elamini.
coming along? I know, but is it coming with us, or should we give it a seat on one of our sharks?
Well, I
It
think he prefers
can
the
swim.
water.
Have you had a chance to check out this Lake Elamini?
I don't need to check it out. I am it.
Mm.
Oh,
This part anyway.
Mm.
yeah. Do you only
Oh, this
stay
part of
here?
the lake.
Can you move around?
Well, I think if I were to try to move around, the other spirits nearby might not want me to. Some of them are mean. Some of them might be okay, be friendly. Or I could try to take over some of them.
Mm.
Just work for
It doesn't seem nice.
mutual happiness.
Well, I
more
didn't
than-
say I hadn't decided yet. Right now, I'm just watching you guys.
Sure.
Well, if you ever get that urge to take over other things, just kind of fight that urge down.
Okay, what if they try to take over me?
Oh yeah, I would.
Definitely defend yourself, but don't
But
be
maybe
the
find
aggressor.
friends. Think about friends rather than taking over.
Yeah. I would
Okay.
make friends with the other nice ones, and you can all kind of look out for each other.
As you guys watch Elamini listening to you, its shape actually becomes more humanoid, noticeably, as it absorbs this advice.
Oh. Huh. It's like a kid. Crap, I've never had kids.
We're not normally in this kind of environment. This is very strange for us. It's nice that you are a part of it, know all about it. That's great.
Well, I'm new here too. I've only existed for a few minutes.
True.
I don't know how long that was.
Good point.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Well, just so you know, most things in the lake don't look like us, since you're new here.
Oh, okay. They look like fish. I can feel fish.
Yeah.
Plants.
Definitely fish. Oh, I don't suppose you can feel anything maybe larger floating around.
Points to the sharks that Amethyst summoned.
Oh, okay, the sharks excluded. Like anything that was here before these sharks showed up.
Not
Anything around that might try
Something
to
that's not
eat us?
alive.
not in my part.
Hmm.
There's the little houses that those other fish people lived in.
Yeah. Well, probably should go.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. I'll be
Bye.
friends like you
Meeting
said.
you.
Be good.
If we get
Okay.
a chance, maybe we'll come back. See how you're doing.
I'd like that.
Turn back to the rest. Can anybody remember where the hell we are?
Down.
Down.
Down far.
Down. No sun.
Mostly concerned if if that big jellyfish was that blobby thing we were stuck in. I'm concerned that we're going to get stuck in something like that again, or eaten. I
That
don't.
had to be part of that.
I was feeling really calm in the water up until you said that.
Yeah, sorry. Can't help it.
Andrew
Shall we
just kind of
shark?
says, yeah, if we can get back up to the surface, I can at least get my bearings, and I should be able to guide us to La Mancha from wherever we come up, assuming everything looks the same.
Well, I guess
Different-
everybody
I don't think
grab a
there's
shark.
There's no real reason to look in those little houses, right? They were.
Yeah, as
I'm ready to not be
they
wet
they pretty
anymore.
much you got the feeling that they probably took anything of value with them.
Kind of be sad.
They didn't
anyway,
have much
'cause
anyway.
The little guys wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Kind of sad to see them empty, really.
Yeah. All right, let's go up.
Having a shark.
Skyward
right.
ho.
Says you each grab a hold of a shark. You begin to ascend, and it's kind of exhilarating moving through the water, but it kind of relatively quickly becomes a little bit boring just because there's nothing to see but water in every direction, just fading out until it's too murky to see any further, and kind of stays like that for a long time. You're swimming. You're making progress, at least, though. You're moving through the water, and you also have kind of a just slightly instinctive sense that you can feel the pressure lessening. So you're pretty sure that you are successfully climbing, but it's taking a long time, and you're actually going for more than an hour before it's even noticeably lighter.
We don't have to worry about getting the bends or anything, do we?
No.
Okay.
You are
Never know.
because you guys are controlling your rate of ascent. Anytime you start feeling like you need to equalize your pressure or whatever, you can always just stop for a moment. And yeah, so nothing is forcing you upwards any faster than you want to be going. So
All right. Seems like a lot further up than it was down.
well, you had a ride the last time.
Yeah. Express elevator.
It's true.
You also swam a long way that time too. So it actually does take you several hours. And by this time, even though, and so okay, here's something I just recalled. Your conjure sharks, Amethyst, I believe only last an hour.
Yeah.
So to be sure,
Long walk.
you can cast it again, or you can just swim on your own, or however you guys want to handle that. But after an hour, you get the sense you have quite a ways left to go.
Quite a ways. I'm going to cast it again.
Okay. All right. So as you sort of finish up the second hour's worth of casting, by the time they run out again, you are near enough the surface that you can start to kind of see light, above. So you feel like probably you can go ahead and swim the rest of the way on your own, at least back up to the surface. And as you have emerged more into the area of the water where it's slightly, there's more light coming from above, you do recognize that here and there in the water you see all variety of strange looking aquatic creatures that don't look entirely natural, but mostly they're just kind of swimming around doing their thing, ignoring you.
Well,
As
that's
in, like,
intriguing.
Are those like the animals or those other spirits, like little spirits?
You see here and there fish that probably would be ordinary fish that would live in the lake, but you get the feeling that there are lots of new little spirits. They're staking their various claims. Well, if you can approach them if you want.
Motion.
They don't approach you.
I don't think I want to mess with them. I'm just gonna let that one go. Not a problem for me.
Well, maybe we can make a good
someone else.
impression on them.
Like a Bill and Ted's excellent, like, be excellent to each other proclamation. Get Elamini on the right path kind of thing like you did.
So do you swim towards one and just say, be excellent to each other?
Yeah, kind of wave.
It this one's kind of blob-like, but it extends a pseudopod that goes.
I think they're going to be okay.
Go with the flow, man.
Right. One can hope.
So eventually, you guys do break the surface. It looks like it's probably noonish. And you guys had kind of this burst of energy after the fight, and with all, the adrenaline and all that spiritual energy going on, that you were feeling pretty pumped, but you also kind of are recognizing now that you guys haven't really had a good night's sleep for probably going on 36 hours now.
Woo, woo, woo. It's like Baltic Con,
you had one long rest down with the Kuatoa before going into the other portal, but it's been some time since then, and so 36 hours is too much. But certainly you're ready for a night's sleep.
It was a long swim.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that you have surfaced not so near the center as you thought, but you're still going to have. You have like 10 miles of swimming. You look around and you see that the barge, you see it kind of not quite on the horizon because you can see the land all around the lake, but it's far away. You can see it just sort of as a speck on the. It's hard to tell from this distance.
It looks like it's moving or not?
It's hard to tell from this distance.
Right. All right.
Andri looks around, and parts of the lake are you can't see the land from here where you are because it's just the lake's that big. But here and there, where you can see it, she looks and she says, "I think the level has retreated some."
So I can cast Water Walk on us.
Yeah. How long does that last?
That's I have
An hour.
Is it only an hour?
I think so.
Swim that fast.
Well, I mean,
I can summon flyers, I think. Yeah. Giant owls. They've carried us before.
Yeah, it only lasts an hour.
True.
But they fly at 60 feet. Their movement speed is 60 feet per
a
flying.
reminder too for Amethyst that you can wild shape into flying creatures now.
Totally. Oh yeah, totally.
Sweet.
So we want to make our way to the shore or to the barge or what?
Andri kind of says, "Well, the barge is closer. I mean, if we think we can pilot it, that's probably."
And if nothing else, those should have little lifeboats or something that we can row
Or,
instead of
It
swim.
Yeah. We can
it probably
paddle.
was,
Or get an animal to pull it, for that matter.
Right.
get a tow from an
Yeah.
octopus.
Whale.
So, are we water walking to the barge then?
Whatever gets me dry for Christ's sake.
Right.
How far was it, the barge?
Well, it's hard to get a real sense of the distance, but you think an hour's worth of travel would get you there.
All right. Well, I will cast water walk then, and
Water speed walk. Heel toe.
Mall walk.
So as Nira casts the spell, you find yourself suddenly more and more buoyant until you are able to stand, on the surface. And although it still sort of sloshes around you, you find that anywhere you set your feet down, it's apparently solid enough to stand and walk up across.
I start using prestidigitation to dry myself off a little bit.
Andrew,
That feels good.
Andrew's like squeezing her hair out.
sunlight.
Oh, so pruny.
And she Andrew finally takes off the goggles, and she has a real dramatic
Aw.
line around her face. Like, oh, it's good to see actual light. As you guys get closer to the ferry, you realize that it does seem to just be adrift. From where you left it. It was empty when you left it. Has not been reclaimed as far as you can tell. So you can climb aboard and now what?
You see if there's any kind of controls for this thing.
Yeah, didn't one of you go up to the pilot house? I mean, Nira was giant at the time, so she doesn't know any of this.
That reminds me, I'm gonna go ahead and start a tabletop audio. This one is Down by the Sea. You're not technically at the sea, but close enough. Well, that's very surfy. Well, that'll work for now. So, Tabletop Audio is a website where you can get all sorts of ambiances for your game. So, a couple of you
good ambiance.
Yeah. So I believe that it was Nero didn't go inside because she was still a giant at the time.
She was huge.
Yeah. I want to say it was Alaric that went and inspected the pilot house and saw that there was maps and such in there. But there's not much in the way of controls, and you're also not really sure, like there's no sails or anything, and you weren't really sure that the boat didn't seem to have its own method of propulsion. It was moved perhaps by the spirit before.
Now, how old is the boat? Did it seem like it was really old, or
It's
fairly new?
As ships go, it's been well maintained, but it looks like it's probably been in service for a few decades, but kept up.
Maybe we could ask some of the new things. We have to have a name for them. I mean, we could call them like Elamons, I suppose, but that seems a little confusing.
Well, I think in time they'll all come to
Elamounds?
have their own names.
Ella Magnificence? Elemenies.
Micro Ellies.
Mini Ellies. No.
Amethyst, you can make a nature check. Nira, you can make a religion check.
Super excited to get my dice out. It's been a while.
Plus 7. Okay, so that's a 24.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
16 for nature.
Okay. So first, Amethyst would just know generally that the current situation of a large natural feature like a lake having lots of little spirits in it is probably not stable. Meaning, that's not how it tends to be found in nature. And so you would get the sense that left to their own devices, eventually the spiritual energy will recondense into a bigger spirit. Not necessarily at the same level that the previous one was.
Right.
But generally speaking, this is a lake, not thousands and thousands of tiny lakes.
Right.
And the spirits will change and shift to match their environment. That's what's likely anyway. That would be probably a period of a long time though for that. It's not like days, it's much longer than that.
Right. So do I think that there's like an inherent danger that we need to address? Is that?
No, it's just more a matter of you recognize that the way things are now is just generally not going to be a state of equilibrium.
Right. Yeah.
And so it will have to find its new normal, and that new normal will probably be, once again, a larger spirit that controls most of the lake.
The drawing from its environment. So.
Yeah. Nero, what you know with your religion is that in some ways you know some of that same general idea is that there's a reason that giant natural features like Rushama or like the lake tend to have these very old, very powerful spirits, is because those features of land are very powerful, right? And you know that that's just generally how it works, but it's also a cyclical thing, meaning the more you have mortal creatures thinking of the lake as one thing, the faster it will produce that scenario in a spiritual way. Whereas if you were to have lots of people each trying to have their own rituals or prayers or honorifics to lots of individual different spirits, it would sort of spur that growth. Meaning it's a little bit like a garden when you have a situation like this where the spiritual energy is not organized very concretely yet, in the sense that spiritual energy is kind of generated and shaped by mortal creatures, and so the mortal creatures that have, free will and intention, which is mostly humans and other humanoid races in the area, potentially have an opportunity now to shape how the spirits will develop over time.
All right. So I tell you guys that.
And I add on my bit.
So
basically, this isn't a tenable situation, and it will change, but not overnight.
but there's an opportunity to make it better.
Well, I
I
mean,
think we've got a lot on our plate already.
I don't know that we can really
Yeah.
determine that. That's going to be more about the worshipers and all of that stuff. Like, are we going to stay here and worship a specific god to make sure
I
that
don't
they...
have time to found a church.
Right?
Yeah, I'm already taken, so
Maybe
know-
those folks back at that town. I mean, it seemed like they were pretty much beaten up by the spirit. It got out of whack where the spirit was powerful and they were
there's
weak.
no telling how they've been affected by this, though. I have no idea if they were under some sort of compulsion. I
Yeah,
never
well,
really
we need
checked.
to
It was
get
all
your
just
horses.
So creepy.
Yeah, we need to get your horses, so I mean, we may as well get the lay of the land and try to set them on the right course.
It's very possible they won't be happy to see us.
Right.
I
That's
feel like
fine.
some of those people were probably pretty happy with the way things were.
I've dealt with that my whole life.
Andrew says, well, I mean, there seemed like there were some of them that were much more into it than others. So I mean, it's a big town. I doubt that there's going to be, you're not going to have everybody reacting the same way one way or another.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
yeah,
all
I
those
think there are
folks-
probably going to be some of the hardcore Elamonists will probably be wondering where he went.
But some of those other guys, the ones that had squid arms and stuff, they might be gone, or they might be terrorizing these folks. might not have power because Elamon's gone, or they might be let loose.
Well,
I
for that
like
matter,
those things were controlled by Elamond, and by destroying him, any spell functionality would have failed.
Unless they were just made that way and now got no direction.
Like your golem.
And we will strike them down.
Isn't that what it was? That was in the mines.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe. I feel like we should at least take a look in the morning. For now,
Yes.
we got a platform. Ain't nobody trying to kill us. I want to sleep, goddammit.
Wring out some of this.
well, there's definitely some nice, like there's not really like cabins for sleeping, but there's lots of kind of comfy benches in sort of the like recreation area.
Dry ground and it's kind of shaking a little bit. It's kind of soothing. Also, listen to that music you put on for the tabletop. Wow,
It's
that
very
made me feel
relaxing,
like
right?
I want
It's
to
calming.
relax. Yeah.
Afternoon sun feels very nice.
Well, you also have to figure out exactly like if you want to try to get the boat back to shore, you need to figure out how to do that. Either
Bring
that or
oars?
it's another swim/walk. It's quite a ways. Andrew guesses that you're probably about 25 miles from the town.
Figure that out tomorrow.
Are we drifting? Should get a direction?
It's not a fast drift one way or another.
So we won't make that much. We won't go that far if we just go to sleep right now.
Could we?
We could set watches so that we're not surprised.
Yeah.
As you guys are kind of having that conversation, I'm gonna have Nira make a dexterity saving throw.
What?
More. More.
Okay. Hold on. I'm on the wrong screen. Dang it. Dexterity is +2. So 20. Not natural.
You hear a popping sound above your head and are quick in your reflexes enough to step aside and catch the small fist-sized rock that has just appeared out of thin air and dropped onto where would have been your head. But you're able to catch it if you want.
I will catch it and hope it's not something that's going to explode.
You catch it, and it appears to be a relatively ordinary stone, about the size of a fist, but it does have some engraving on it. What you see is an engraving of a swan, some letters that you don't recognize, and an elvish sigil that is used for making a statement conditional. Meaning, if you saw this sigil so if there was a statement like, there are 10 doves, if this sigil was with it, it would mean if there are 10 doves. So that's what this symbol means. That's the one you recognize, but the others are in a different language.
Well, that's really weird. I will show these people the strange rock that's just fallen out of the sky or ceiling something. Does
What?
anybody recognize these symbols? This one sigil here, I know this. It's an elvish symbol, but the others I'm unfamiliar with.
You have birds
Well,
flying
the
by you now.
No, I don't know where this came from.
Hang on,
Do I
I'm
do
just-
a roll? I will look.
I'm just double checking which languages you guys actually know. What you recognize, Archie, is I'm just confirming. You speak Infernal, correct?
Infernal and
Yeah.
Dwarvish.
You recognize that the some of the lettering on it. You don't recognize all of it, not even all of the bit that So Nira pointed out the bit that she knew, and you can read some of the rest. And what it says is, Scar bearers, you are alone. And then amethyst,
Starbearers,
you recognize that one of the remaining symbol is druidic. And what it says is that the stone is too cold.
Stone is too cold.
Yeah. So between between all of that, there's an image of a swan. Scarbearers, you are alone. The Elvish symbol for conditional, and the druidic sign that says that the stone is too cold.
Is the stone cold?
It feels air temperature.
So
It's
this
not
could
chilled.
mean if we are alone, the stone will be too cold. Or
Well, the conditional is the stone too cold. No.
if, yeah.
Try.
Or is it- I mean,
we are alone if the stone is too cold. I think.
So we're not alone. Wait, what's the scar bearer stuff? I got
Well,
plenty of scars.
Well, that could be
I think that's
those of us that
referring-
have the fissure.
Yeah, these.
Oh, those things.
And I wiggle my left cheek out. Yeah, this.
Andrew doesn't have one of those things either, right?
She
No.
shakes her head. Nope. I joined up with them in Villanocta.
How big is this barge?
I mean, it's it's relatively big for kind of a ship. It's a sort of big, long, flat-bottom ferry.
I got a thought. Andrew, why don't you and me go to the other side of the barge and leave them alone for a little while?
Okay, so that the Scarbearers are alone.
Yeah, maybe that's. I don't know. It's worth
Okay.
a try.
Can we tell? I'm assuming
Boy,
amethyst has a fairly high nature proficiency. Can we tell like what the kind of composition of the rock is? Like, would I recognize it as if it was like from the mountain?
So what I'll say is that Amethyst can make a nature check if she wants to be more specific, but generally speaking, it seems like just a very ordinary, like gray granite stone. The material itself seems utterly utterly ordinary.
All right.
I rolled a 4, so it looks like a rock. I'm pretty sure.
It looks basically like any rock you might just find next to
I got
the
a
road.
rock.
All right. So
Are we alone? Are the scar bearers alone?
Well, yeah. You guys tell me. Andrew's
No,
certainly
we're-
willing to go along with that if that's the
Well,
plan.
We'll go to the other side. It's worth an easy check anyway.
Right.
Maybe Andrew can teach me how to fish.
All right, so
So-
Andrew goes with you.
How's that stone temperature?
It has not changed.
I'll open my third eye and detect
Oh, your
my
divine sense. You don't detect any fiends or undead or anything nearby.
I'm going to use the magnifying glass.
Which is the that casts the equivalent of identify.
I
On
think
it?
so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's the identify whatever spell.
yeah. So as you pull out this magnifying glass that you got from the library in Villanocta, you recognize that this stone has a spell cast on it known as Magic Mouth, which is able to convey a message when the trigger condition is met, but it doesn't tell you what the trigger condition is or what the message will be. But you know that that's what the spell on it is. There's nothing else magical about it.
Okay, so we've got
We have an ice spell that we can blast it with to make it too cold.
well, I have the let's see, what is it? I have ice storm, but that's pretty destructive and
Well,
probably
if
not.
the stone is too cold, we need to warm it up.
Sacred flame.
Ah,
Set it on the ground and poof.
I love it when you do that.
No, you do.
Oh, hope it doesn't explode.
All right, so I want to take it kind of out to the
My God.
what would be the bow of the ship, kind of where I was sitting before, and set it there, and then I will sacred flame it. And
Okay.
see.
I think unless you want it to be the violent sort, that it can be a relatively gentle.
Yeah, just a little one.
Yeah,
Love
so
tap.
as it seems almost like, the clouds have parted just a little bit, sending just sort of a ray down from the sky, shining around it, and you can sort of feel the warmth coming off of it for a while. And as it sits there on the bow of the ship, after a moment, you see sort of a magical shimmer on it, and suddenly you hear the following in Melicanth's voice.
God, this bitch. Sorry.
Your success has attracted attention. We are being hunted. Do not reply. Find me where you met each other. Do not trust anyone with power. And then the stone crumbles into dust.
So I don't think we should stay here.
Guess we're gonna go and see our friend Sitzlebeck again.
Well, we all met in Gorn.
That's right.
Wow.
We're never getting rid of this shell, y'all.
As long as I don't have to carry it.
I think while you guys are doing that, while Andri and Alaric are kind of back on the other ship, on the other side of the ship, I think at some point Andri kind of would have turned to Alaric and just kind of said, back when we were in that Dakota City, like when we were sneaking through there, it seemed like you were really trying hard to get separated from us and killed. Am I misreading that situation, or what's going on there?
Well, I never really tried to get myself killed. It seems like I'm stupid enough to seem to put myself there. I just figured all the rest of them have a better, well, for want of a better word, destiny. I was stuck in a hole for a while, and I'm out. And I got to do what I can to make it up to them for that. And if that means that I'm, not going to make it, then I can accept that. I don't try to. I don't have a lot of great plans. I hid from one thing for a long time, and I was pretty good at it. Turns out hiding from a lot of things is much harder.
I'm just, a little worried about you after all. I mean, it's one thing to be willing to give your life for, a cause or your friends or something, but you can't walk around looking for that opportunity, because you'll find it sooner than you probably need to.
Well, maybe I'm still working on what it means to be alive.
Yeah.
I know one thing I can contribute to, and that's them, and I haven't got a lot of goals otherwise right now. Can't really go home. Don't really want to
Yeah.
go home.
I kind of know what that's like. I know on the stream, I think we lost Chooch briefly, but yeah. Andri's just kind of saying, yeah, I know what that's like, and to be honest, I mean, I signed up to be this scout to see things that I wouldn't see, and go places that I wouldn't have ever gone, and have adventures, which is exciting, but also kind of aimless, and I kind of feel what you're saying, and it's like these guys feel like they've been tapped on the shoulder by destiny, and I don't know, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, scary.
Sorry, I missed that last word.
Scary?
Oh, scary. Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, I'm not afraid of, going to fight monsters or something like that. I mean, I get that, but did we really just kill the spirit of Lake Elamon? I mean,
Well,
that's like legend stuff.
they are the heroes of legend. I think that's the name I've heard more than once. So if we're going to walk in their wake, we're going to probably find ourselves swept up in one legend or another.
Yeah,
But,
you get the impression that until she kind of said it out loud, she hadn't really kind of fully processed it. She's kind of just eyes a little bit wide, breathing a little bit like,
Hey, look, you're fierce. You're something to be reckoned with. You're somebody I look to always be the one to, well, get right in there and do what needs to be done. But you got a family. And I know that they might miss you too.
yeah,
Maybe you're missing them.
I miss them every day, but I'm not me when I'm back there.
I kind of get that. Not me when I'm at home either.
Well, I think at this point you guys probably hear sort of a collective groan from the other end of the ship of sort of like a ah.
I think it worked. Whatever the hell it was that I thought I was doing.
Maybe.
Look, if you need to be somewhere else, if you want to take it a little less scary for a while, I don't think anybody's going to blame you. You've been through, well, I won't say the hells and back, but I don't know what the hell that place was.
Yeah. I want to be sure we're doing the right thing. It's not that I doubt it so much as stuff like this is so big. How do we know what the right thing is?
I don't. Nira and I had God. Well, actually, that might be the right word. We had a visit, and we met with a Fey lady.
This is what you guys were talking about just right after we got into the other plane, right? You
Yeah.
you said you talked to someone.
It's all a little surreal, but yeah.
I tell you, we've already seen lots of things that I would have sworn were just from storybooks.
Well, maybe these are the new storybooks. Gonna have to have somebody write them. Can you write good? Because I really can't.
Not my strong suit.
Maybe we need to find a bard to tag along with us. Nobody will ever believe it if I tell the stories.
Oh man, I tell you, you didn't ever really get to know Mugen that well, but he could tell the stories.
Yeah, maybe the stories would be a little too big in that case. I mean, he left a lot of stories in his wake.
Might be right.
Anyway, there are bigger things happening here. This whole stolen moment thing. For a long time, I thought that was just a fancy name for the thing, but turns out it might actually literally be a stolen moment, a bit of time, a delaying of something, or two somethings, actually. The problem being is, well, those folks over there are on a course. At least they think they are.
Well,
And they're doing things at least they think are right.
that's actually something I wanted to ask you about too. Like, I don't pretend to understand all of this stuff about, stealing time or, how putting it back or what that would mean. But if they went back and they changed the past that they're from, what would happen to us?
Yeah. Well, I probably would actually get married. Probably live a really boring life. A diplomatic envoy between two nations. Making sure all the grain flows and crap like that.
I can't even imagine it. Incidentally, welcome back, Chooch. So the rest of you, we can hear you now. You had looked like you had dropped out of the call there for a little bit, Chooch, but it looks like you're back
I didn't
now.
want to interrupt.
Okay.
So.
Well,
But I could hear everything.
looks like you're back in everything now. So what I was just going to say is that, although this is a lovely conversation between Alaric and Andre, you guys would have finished your hearing the message from Melicanth by now. So I don't know if you're rejoining them or calling them back or...
I'm gonna pick up the
Yeah.
stone and throw it in the water.
It crumbled into dust after the message played.
Well, I'll kick it then.
I'd walk back towards them.
Right. Oh, hey, did it work?
Yeah.
We received
Yeah.
a message.
Oh, well, hey, I got something right today. It's got to be a first.
Melicanth sent word, and we're not going back to Villanocta right now.
No? How come?
We're going to Gorn.
Gorn. Where the
Yeah.
hell's Gorn?
Apparently, what we have done here has been noticed. So,
We've attracted a little attention.
it's a little
and-
town, actually, not too far from the lake here.
I mean, yeah, of course what you did is noticed. I mean, I looked at Andrew. What you did was pretty big.
But
Yeah.
far and wide.
She said we're being hunted.
Well,
they're being hunted.
I mean, wait, hunted? By what?
Isn't that what she said? That's what she said, right?
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
know. Her
hunted.
message wasn't long enough to say. She said we're being hunted. She said we or they.
I think she said we, which I took to mean those who stopped the moment. Who
Well, but weren't they
Who first
mostly
the moment?
dead because has a longer lifespan, right?
Well, I don't know how many there were.
I just assumed that she meant us and her, like all of us that have been working on this.
Yeah.
So Melicanth and us.
We need to go to Gorn.
And she said not to trust anybody with power.
Power.
Power. What do you mean with power?
Oh,
All the three of you have power, for that matter.
Right?
Does she mean like don't trust, like don't give power to anyone, like don't trust anyone to have it, or don't trust anyone that already has it?
I just think, like, trust nobody at this point.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to trust anyone.
I'm going Fox Mulder. I'm not trusting nobody.
But
I trust you all here.
Yes.
So I think get the horses as quietly as possible, get out of town, and get to Gorn.
What's in
Low
Gorn?
profile. It's where it all started.
Andrew says Gorn is like, it's mostly human city. It's kind of midpoint between Villanocta and the main part of Tashmia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So,
it's they do a lot of trade. Stuff goes through there. It's along the Stars Path.
It's a meeting point that only we would know of.
all right. Are you sure it was her and not somebody else?
Pretty sure.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know who
that
else would
voice
know
anywhere.
What the hell do they find? Just look up in the sky, look for birds.
that's
Like-
pretty much
Magic.
how. Yeah.
You seem fairly competent wizard. This wizard.
Wait.
So how?
is
So
this
let's
the one
get.
that took the thing? Nira, is this the one that took the thing the
She's
first
the one that used the thing and not that took the thing.
No.
I don't know who that is.
She was among a party that stopped the original ritual from happening, or at
So-
least tried.
That leads me to a discussion we probably ought to have. Right shortly after we crossed over into that other plane, Alaric and I had a very strange encounter. It was like we were kind of plucked out of time and brought forth to amuse a fey lady.
More demon lies.
Well,
Well,
I mean-
pretty sure. I think there was a lot in the way of lying going on. I mean,
While she's talking, I'm going to cast Pass Without a Trace because I'm a paranoid hooker.
Okay. As
We're on a barge in the middle of a lake over the body of the dead god.
As Amethyst, waves the staff of Lenamara over all of you, the sound of the water around you just becomes slightly muted and more still.
Cone of silence. Got it.
So what happened was she pulled Alaric and myself, and we fought this demon. And the deal was that if we defeated the creature, then we got to ask her 3 questions. We were granted an audience, and it was close, but we pulled it out. And
pulled it out. I ran, and I got hit.
Well, I took my fair share of damage. It wasn't pretty. We got through it. Yeah. But anyway, so we got a little bit of intel, and as much as you can trust anything, I think this is pretty solid information. So our 3 questions. The first question that we asked was if there was a way to close the fissures without charging the stolen moment. And the answer is basically no.
Oh, yeah, maybe we should say that part. Every time one of these portal things closes with you guys, it sends the energy into the moment itself. It's like it's growing in power every time one of these things closed. It's
right,
why I was kind of wondering whether you want to still do it.
Yeah, the spirit of Elamon had told us, that eventually the Fey Lords and Ladies are going to come for this, and when they do, it shouldn't be charged. The problem is, when we close these fissures, it charges the moment. But if we don't close the fissures, it, as it's been doing, causes havoc and rips apart the fabric of space and time.
That fits with my vision upon closing a fissure, that we were only making the demon more powerful, or at least it was scattered, and as we reassembled pieces, it was becoming more aware.
So this leads me to the second question that we had. And we discussed these questions in great detail before we asked them so we could get the phrasing right, to avoid any kind of,
confusion.
Fairy tricks.
Genie shenanigans, yeah.
Exactly.
The
we tried to be as specific as possible with the wording. So the second question was, what things can we do to prevent the demon from returning to the material plane? And
yes,
that's the thing. It's inevitable if we restore the stolen moment. So what you can infer from that is that when not if, it's going to be when we restore this thing. It's going to be a matter of defeating the demon.
Yeah.
Didn't we just take down Elamon, though? I mean,
we didn't.
What's
do that
stronger?
alone.
No, but I mean,
We had the Kuo-toa to back us up that time.
Archie, you're gonna have to take the point on that.
this will take much planning.
I mean, it gets confusing. Because between what Elamon said and the Fey Lady said, this really is a moment in time. And when it goes back, it changes everything.
right. Of course.
I don't know what that means for me or Andrew or...
Well, none of us can tell the future, and we didn't know what was going to happen before we broke time and space. All we're trying to do is restore things and let things continue as they naturally would, except that now we've got this demon to deal with, and I don't mind fighting a demon and the Fae,
I
whatever.
must travel
I don't
in
mind.
time.
So the problem is here that we weren't there, really, for this original, when the moment was stolen. We weren't there, so we would have to find a way to travel back in time before we could even think about dealing with this demon.
Yes,
You were
I
all
will find a way to travel in time.
You're all connected to the thing. So
Andrew's just, at that point, she's just like, sure, no problem.
yeah, but before breakfast, right?
No.
I mean, you're all connected to it. If the moment is restored, I imagine you go with it back to the moment it's supposed to be.
Maybe, but maybe
Oh.
not.
Maybe.
That
The
was
problem is, at that
something else
point-
that she said, though, that you can't fully reconstruct this moment without all of the pieces being there.
Right.
There are 4 pieces not contained in these fissures. There are
Right.
4 living beings that have small little shards of this artifact.
Hmm.
So,
And only 3 are present.
We
So,
need to
yeah.
find Mugen.
A quest to find Mugen finally?
If he wants to be found.
there's another issue with our third question. And this was... Alaric was kind enough to allow me to be a little selfish.
It was important.
Some of the things that Elamon said were very disconcerting for me, and I was a little panicked, and I think there's a good reason. The third question that we asked was, what would I find of the mountain and Rushama if I went home right now? And what I was told is that my people are preparing for war. And Rushama has been corrupted. Now, I carry a piece of Rushama with me, and it has not been touched by this corruption that was under the mountain and somehow made its way to Rushama's heart. I'm not sure how that works. But I need to go home. I can't do it without the items that I was tasked to get. And I don't know what will happen when we get there.
Let's go find out.
So, but that's what we found out. And after that, we were put back in place exactly where we left off with you guys.
Huh.
So do we go to Gorn first, or do we go get your items first?
Well, Gorn is definitely closer than the
That's
items.
close.
And I imagine you guys have some questions for this Melicant.
Oh, I have more than
It sounds like she's been
questions.
entirely full with you.
I just hope she still has the stolen moment. That she hasn't lost it somehow.
Yes.
Yeah,
What does it
go.
actually look like? Like, you never actually told me. You said the stolen moment, and I just could have thought of this, I don't know, a box
It is.
with blues or something.
It's
Kind
sort
of
of
an orb.
a glass orb, a crystal orb of some sort.
Is
But
it-
contained inside a box that keeps it from being tracked and whatnot.
And
Okay.
Melicanth had put it in similar to how our fancy bag works.
Yeah.
She had a safe that functioned in a similar fashion.
Disappeared.
So a ball in a box and a bag and a something.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Something like
invisible.
You nailed it.
Okay, well, if I happen to notice an invisible ball inside of a box inside of another place, I'll be sure to note that.
We are completely dependent upon her giving it to us. There's no way that we can retrieve it that I can tell. She has all the power. So let's go chat her up.
Well, I have a new ability where I might be able to dispel such magics.
Well, let's
That's
take
safe.
this one step at a time. I mean, I'm all for punching her in the face. That would make me feel great.
Repeatedly?
Repeatedly. Sacred flame all around. Makes me great. But the truth of the matter is that we need her information and whatever she knows and whatever is happening now. We need to know everything she knows.
Does she have anybody she's working with?
I don't think so.
Well, the Grand Druid seemed...
The Archdruid, yeah.
Archdruid seemed...
But she also said, she said not to trust anybody with power.
True.
I mean, I don't
True.
trust her
He
either.
had great power.
But I
Yeah.
don't know him as well as Amethyst. I mean, look at the spirit of Lake Elamond. Everything in this world is corruptible.
Yeah, I mean, I trust the Archdruid more than I trust pretty much anyone, but while it pains me to take Melicanth's advice to not talk to someone like him, I don't know what we can gain.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully he'll contact me again if he finds something out that's useful.
And she may have been political power.
Yeah.
It was
So,
non-specific.
yeah.
I mean, I know it seems like everything gets corrupted, and I know that what the Fey lady said to you, Nira, was hard to hear, but look at the water. And not all those things in there are good, but I think a lot of them are. I think they got a chance to start over. And maybe it's going to take some time and doing, but they can be redeemed. Maybe. I'm sure you can redeem your mountain if you want to. As for Melicanth, I don't know her yet, so I can't say, but it seems like she tried to do the right thing, even if she was... Look over at Andrew. Even if she was really dumb about doing it. I know a little bit about that myself.
Yeah, I mean, I've always just known Melicanth as she's the archmage on the Villanocta Council. She's always been a little bit weird. You know, people distrusted her after the royal family fell because she was the one that, people thought she collaborated with the Tashmians somehow. But, I mean, as far as I can tell, she's the one that negotiated the arrangement that kept Villanocta sovereign, even...
Mm-hmm.
So she was the one that allowed that to happen, and I think people were mad that Vela lost it all. So I don't know if she actually did anything wrong, but, I think there's always been some level of mistrust in the populace because of that.
Well, when this is all said and done, who knows if there'll even be a Tashmia or a Villanocta to save.
It seems we are intertwined with powers much larger.
Speaking of which, you guys suddenly become aware of a sound in the sky.
More rocks.
Oh, I don't like this.
No.
And as you look around, flying towards you, kind of out of the sunset, appears to be an enormous dragon.
Oh no!
Dragon?
No!
Please somebody tell me that's a friend of yours.
Oh, an arrow!
Can we judge color?
It's hard to tell coming out of the sunlight, out of the sunset.
Shiny?
It's a little shiny.
I don't want this.
It comes closer and closer, and then kind of veers around to kind of fly in a wide circle around the ship. And as it sort of crosses on the other side, you can see that it's definitely the light glinting off of it is sort of brassy in color.
Do I recognize it?
Well, it's the same color as Sitzlebeck, but it's a lot bigger than the last time you saw him.
You know him?
Maybe.
Maybe.
How do we do that? Maybe into a yes.
Knew a dragon once.
Eventually, it sort of tucks its wings and it sort of dives down into the water with a splash that sends the ferry kind of rocking back and forth for a little bit. And then it kind of, this enormous dragon that is now, its head is big enough that it could swallow any of you whole. But it arises out of the water as this dragon kind of surfaces near the ferry and looking at you all, and it looks like it's Sitzlebeck, but much bigger. And he says, "Why am I not surprised to find you all here?"
To hide.
It's Lebeck.
Swear it's not our fault.
Your fault.
What?
Huh.
I had to share a good third of my river with that damned lake spirit. Are you responsible for its destruction?
We are.
Are you grateful?
I am
We
grateful.
are.
It was us.
So, as a spirit, it can kind of detect all your thoughts, just so you know he's gonna know if you're trying to lie.
It also sees through past without a trace because it uses like magical means. So yeah, it already saw us. It knows all well enough.
Yes, that was us. It wasn't our first choice, but we did what we had to do.
Do I even want to ask how you accomplished it? Because, to be honest, I cannot even imagine how that might have happened. No offense, but...
no,
We're the
understandable.
heroes of legend.
If we're professionals, you don't need to worry about the how.
Well, all
Any
right,
help
then.
we had is no longer not optional for us. So,
All right, then. I'll let that slide because I like you all.
You're looking well.
Thank you. I have, just, gained some new property. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
seems to have worked out for you. Yeah.
You've created quite a mess here at the lake, though. I could take care of that for you.
Well, you sure could because you have a lot of power, don't you?
Yeah.
You're very powerful. That's something that we've always respected about you.
I think they'll find their way.
Yeah. I think it's good.
Are you expressing a strong opinion on that matter?
Well, I don't think it's for us to decide.
I mean, they are individuals, and individuals have the right to choose their own destiny.
That's
feel like
not
it-
how spirits work.
Well, they will come to their own equilibrium eventually.
Well, it would happen much more quickly if I were to just move on in.
Well, but what about all of your kobold followers? I mean, they'll be so lonely without you.
Oh, I would not be leaving them behind. I would simply become more.
So let me ask a question. Does our opinion, is it really going to sway you?
Given that somehow you just destroyed a spirit that has ruled this land for upwards of 10,000 years, I am absolutely interested in your opinion on the subject.
Well, I think we would really rather you left it be. Just too much power in one place is never good for anybody, which is why we had to step in here. So
Exactly.
we wouldn't want to have to do that again.
Enjoy your
not
new
that that's a
boon.
threat.
Of course, that's not a threat. We're just talking.
He kind of just chuckles and just says, given that I have twice now enjoyed enormous increases in power suddenly, thanks to your actions, I'm inclined to be gracious.
And that's most appreciated.
What I propose is that I will now claim the entirety of my river up to the border of the lake, and I will allow the new spirits of the lake to find their own way for, let's say, 100 years, and we can reestablish negotiations at that point.
I think that sounds reasonable.
Negotiations with us or with the spirits of the lake?
With the status quo as it exists at that time.
Elves live a long time. I'm good with Nera taking over once I'm dead.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, but I don't want that problem.
I believe in you, Nera.
So
It seems amicable.
I think that I'm all right with that. Just wondering if maybe you could do something about the status of this boat. Like, do you have any pull here? Because we're kind of.
I was wondering what your plan was there. You didn't seem to have any means of propulsion.
Yeah. When do we really ever have a plan?
No real maritime training. No.
Do you want to keep the boat?
Not particularly attached to it.
I
The
don't care
people
about
of the
it.
town might not. Might care, but
I don't.
yeah.
Nah.
If you want the boat, I will help you bring the boat back. Otherwise, it's faster to just fly you back.
Anybody want to ride a dragon?
Flying
I mean-
sounds wonderful.
I'm down. He's so powerful. How could we turn him down?
Is it safe?
Is it
Flight
safe?
sounds incredible.
I mean, don't ride in his mouth.
I would be honored.
Well, very well then. And he kind of sort of turns floating in the water to where you can. He kind of comes up alongside the ferry, so you can sort of hop over the railing onto his back. There is plenty of room for all 5 of you on there without really even being inconvenienced by the wings.
Wow.
So cool.
Are you kidding? Is this real? Do you really know him?
This is how we roll.
Andrew's kind of like,
Yeah, I know.
you guys didn't really even tell me about this.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it feels like
I
a
think
lifetime ago at this point.
Dragon and all.
Just after we broke time and space, you know.
And Sitzlek just says, very well then, where shall I drop you? Or land and allow you to step off. I'm
Thanks for clearing that
not
up.
trying to imply anything other than that.
Appreciate that. We're actually
Where do
looking
we-
for our horses.
Yeah. To the
I
town.
don't know
right?
where they are.
What was the name of the
Elamancha?
town? Elamancha.
Ah, of course. Then hold
That'd be
on.
good.
And there are scales enough that you can kind of,
Hold on for dear life.
get a grip on, and you need them because it is, definitely there's a lurch of acceleration. His enormous wingspan, as it stretches out, you can see that like the tip of each wing is now like 50 feet away in the 2 directions. That's how big.
I think I
It'll
prefer
become
swimming.
And lurches into the air, and then pretty soon you are soaring over the lake as the sunset, sun sets in the west, and there's beautiful oranges and yellows in the sky as you're riding this brass-colored dragon towards the city.
So I'm gonna wild shape into my panda form just because I need to be riding a dragon as a panda. I just need this for me.
That happens. I think you probably hear just a little bit of a chuckle, and I'm all right.
I just kick back, pan style.
Yeah. It's pretty loud to, with the wind, it's pretty loud to try to carry on a conversation while you're flying, but you could shout
Okay.
back and forth if you wanted.
Yeah,
Kind of enjoying riding a dragon, really,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the sunset on your left as you're heading north back towards Elamancha, and flying this way, you're making very good time, and before too long you can see the city down there on the shore, and he calls back and says, if you don't want me to take over the spiritual energy of the town, it would be best if the inhabitants of the town do not see me. It will shape their perception of the spirits nearby.
Very wise.
Aw, appreciate that.
I intend to keep my promise.
Well, it's shaping my perceptions of the spirits nearby.
So, he basically soars down, starts flying lower to the water so he's not so visible from the town, and basically veers off to one side so that he can land some ways like half a mile away from sort of the city proper, and kind of soars in for a landing. And he's very gentle for something, the size of a building. And lands and sort of hunches down, but now that he's not, mostly submerged in the water, you find that even with him sort of laying down, you still have to kind of climb down his scales to get back down to the ground.
Thanks, Sid.
Sid?
Sid Slivak.
So before we
And
go,
he winks at you and says, "For you, it's okay."
Blush, blush, blush.
before we go, I have a question.
Of course.
A hypothetical, if you will.
Mhm.
So, say a spirit of your size, or the size of what was previously the spirit of Lake Elamont. Say a spirit like this was to become corrupted, but there was still a part of it that wasn't. Is it possible to restore what was?
The sort of gentle smirk on Sislebek's face kind of fades, his brow furrows a little bit, and it kind of pauses in contemplation. It's a difficult question. I think I know of what you speak, at least in the broad strokes. I won't ask you to elaborate. I cannot say that it is impossible, though I do not know how it would be accomplished.
Well, thank you for your honesty.
With your newfound influence, or maybe before, do you have any dabblings in, say, the Fey world and the larger powers that shape our plane?
I am bound to the material plane. My river exists here physically, and thus my existence is tied to this plane. However, the Fae is somewhat different than other planes. It bleeds and blurs into this one more so than many. And that is how the various folk tales of the Fae come to exist in this land. There have been portals to the Fae even before these most recent tears in space-time. I am aware of them around the periphery.
Have you felt any new tears in your domain?
Not within my domain. I have felt a lot of energy moving around. It is hard to know exactly what has happened. And obviously, the destruction of the spirit of Lake Elamon was an enormous transfer of energy. It will have been noticed by anyone attuned to spiritual energy for many hundreds of miles around.
Thank you for sharing their wisdom.
Anytime the rest of you would like to continue to give me surprising increases of power, I will accept those gratefully and answer a few questions again.
I'll always think of you first.
I think we're probably done for a little while. We hope.
Fair enough.
I have many, many questions to be answered.
Now that I have seen for myself that the old spirit is in fact gone, now that we have established a territory, I will return to my kobolds. They do miss me.
Thank you
I
so
mean-
much for the ride.
Of course. Don't get yourselves killed now. And the just the beating of the wings is enough that it kind of, doesn't like blow you off your feet, but it's enough that you move back, 40, 50 yards, and takes off and soars. And it's just starting. The night sky is kind of starting to turn starry now. Also, now that the wings are, the beating of the wings aren't so nearby, and you're not talking, you realize you actually hear a fair amount of activity carrying over the air from the town.
Is that pass without a trace still in effect?
It lasts for up to an hour. It's probably worn off. We were like 20 miles out from shore, I thought.
You flew back out pretty fast, but you could recast it if you wanted.
Bam! Recast.
Can I just ask?
It's probably a long story.
That might pop out of the sky, or be that.
We don't know. We didn't know that was possible.
No, I had no idea.
But you knew that.
Well, I mean, you meet people, you go about your business.
I've met a lot of
Andrew
people that
says,
don't turn into
"Yeah, I
dragons."
guess so."
We go way back.
Long story, very short. Before the stolen moment blew up, we were in a cave. Sitzlebek was this tiny little spirit of this little creek, and he was trapped, and
There was a poisoned river.
the explosion released all this energy. He got bigger, the river got bigger, and when we came out of the cave, it was 100 years later, and there's this giant dragon.
Yeah.
That
And
big?
now he's much bigger now.
He's
There were
bigger.
there were little lizard folk who worshipped him, which I believe shaped how he formed and grew.
How did
Because
you know
they,
you
they
could?
seem to really love dragons.
How did you know you could trust him? I mean, if there's anything I've seen today that has a lot of power, it's that thing.
He hasn't killed us.
True. And
Yeah.
we did give him something that he found very valuable, so I think
And
it's
we didn't.
in his best interest to keep us alive, because we keep doing things for him.
We've been honorable, and he's been honorable.
And we didn't tell him what our intentions are to do next. So we just, it's fine. We came to the city. Nobody would expect us to do different with our crap here. So
I mean, it's possible
just-
he could have taken us all the way to Gorn, but
no,
probably not going to risk that one.
no.
No, not. But that's. I've had enough flying for this month.
Well, I mean, I could do that all day, but we do need to stay off the radar. And flying on a dragon is not the best way to stay off the radar. So
Yeah, but who's going to catch us?
I don't know if I want to know the answer to that question.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a good point.
So one of this various sort of like activity and kind of shouting and stuff that you're hearing sort of vaguely carrying over the air, you hear a woman screaming. Like
Oh, crap.
it's distance is like half a mile away, but like, one scream in particular kind of carries. And
Archie,
you're-
can you get a read on your horse?
oh, certainly, yes.
Is it in that direction?
Just double checking the fine steed. It's not a concentration, correct? It's
Correct. Yeah, it's a Fey being that comes into existence, and we have a
Yeah.
telepathic link up to a mile,
and it basically just lasts until you either dismiss it or
or it dies.
right. Okay, yeah. So you detect it. It's they're in the city, presumably where you left it. Although you can't really tell that specifically from here.
Vengeance, vengeance, are you well?
it's alive.
We were delayed, but we're coming for you.
I don't know. I can't really make horse noises.
Right.
Is it in the direction of the
The
scream?
horses are well.
Well, it's in the
They're-
direction of the city, and the city was.
They're
the
still
direction
in
of
the.
stream.
They're still in the city, and they are well.
All right,
We got to
so
find out what these people are doing to each other.
Yes.
let's head that way, and let's be quiet. Maybe about it. a little bit?
Yes.
I could be quiet about it.
I can try. Easier with amethyst.
Are you traveling slowly? Are you trying to actually be stealthy, or are you?
I think we go like regular speed with the pass without a trace, and
Just don't talk to nobody.
Maybe as we get closer, be more careful.
Are you kind of going along? You're relatively close to the shore of the lake, and now that you're here, you recognize that Andrew suggests that it's not completely restored to where it probably had been, but it's definitely retreated somewhat. So there's about 40 yards worth of just really soggy, sort of muddy terrain where it had been flooded, now surrounding the new shore.
We'd probably move a little faster on the dry stuff.
yeah, head up the edge of the road and slink around.
All right. So as you're starting to get closer, you spot out in the lake just a small, fishing boat, almost just like a regular rowboat. But you kind of notice it because the person rowing it is kind of rowing it very hurriedly, very almost kind of like in a rush, and you realize that it is completely full, like up to the railing, with fish, and more fish are like swimming and jumping out of the water and trying to land into it, but it's so full now that they just kind of flop back off and out of the water into the water again. But you can kind of just see that sort of at the limits.
How far out are they?
They're probably like 50 yards out into the water, and so you're maybe 100 yards out.
I'm just thinking if I cast Water Walk again, I could go out and help. Oh, because it's
Like the boat is not sinking, but
Yeah, I think-
the fish are not stopping trying to jump into it.
It looks like he's having a great time.
Yeah, I think they're having a good haul.
I didn't know fishing was that easy.
The only real body language you can sense from this distance is that he seems to be trying to row as fast as possible.
Maybe one of those little spirits is being a little too excellent to somebody else.
They'll figure it out.
No, it's not like he can swim to shore. It's not that far.
Doesn't seem to be in too much danger, and he's brought back a lot of fish, so I think maybe they like him. Maybe he was nice to them. Seems a lot better than slitting his own throat, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah. This is not anywhere near the scale of creepy that it used to be. I'm good with this. Let's go get the horses.
As you continue, you're now sort of at the outskirts, and so there's kind of smaller houses that start to becoming a little bit more densely collected. You're not quite into the town proper yet, but as you pass one of these little houses, you see a woman come out of her house holding a broom and swatting at weird, strange little sprite-like creatures that seem to be trying to carry off her laundry.
We'll keep going because that's just funny.
As you're getting on one of the closer roads, you're definitely hearing a lot more activity. So you're getting this sort of feeling like that these sorts of little incidents are kind of happening all over the place right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got plenty of distractions then.
Yeah.
We can get in and get out.
Gotta love a power vacuum.
You pass a little clump of people where a man who has bright green skin is explaining how he was blessed by the die spirit to the other groups, the others around him.
Lord. Okay, that's a little creepy.
You pass a thunderstorm that appears to only be raining on a stretch of land that's about 20 feet in diameter. And it is a terribly intense pouring thunderstorm right in that spot and nowhere else. You see
I
a
think I still
kid,
prefer this.
a kid laughing in delight, who is riding what looks to be a small breed of dog that is now the size of a horse, and a woman who probably is his mother, who is kind of chasing after, looking really kind of nervous, but not sure what she needs to do about this.
They definitely seem a lot happier than they were before. I think
This all seems right. Yeah.
You hear a couple of kids sort of laughing and sort of talking in conspiratorial whispers as you kind of pass the corner of a house, and as you look in that, and there's a sort of a man like shouting angrily at them, but they don't seem like afraid. And as you turn that corner, you see a man who apparently his clothing has turned to solid gold, and so he can't move. It's freezing him in place, and he's actually standing on what looks to be a patch of ground about just a foot in diameter around him, but he's frozen, and there's a group of kids that are using knives to try to cut his now solid gold pouch off of his belt, and he can't move his arms to stop them, and he's yelling at them to leave him alone.
lots of the pouch isn't so bad when it's made of gold.
Yeah, kids will be kids.
Then you hear a loud crashing sound and another scream, and it's from ahead of you. And as you kind of hurry a bit more in that direction, you see a house moving, and then you realize, oh, they're coming out of the window of it is what looks to be sort of a serpentine reptilian sort of head, and then you see another one coming out of the door and another one out of another window, and you now realize that there's some sort of a multi-headed reptilian creature that has burst out of a small cottage and is now like wearing it on its back like a turtle shell, and it is stomping towards you, and you hear the scream again and realize that in the upper window of this little house sitting on its back, you see the terrified face of a little girl.
Oh.
Whoa, that's not good.
Hey,
Oh no!
stop it right now.
So
All right,
I cast,
and now we're
can I
gonna
cast,
roll initiative, and we're gonna go to the
Damn it! I should have just been talking.
All right. It is a house draw.
House
like-
dress.
There are lots of people here and about, so we've got basically lots of little, just commoners that are kind of. This thing is sort of stomping through the town, wearing this thing on its back.
Where's the little girl?
In the upper window right here.
Okay.
It's a 12 for me.
So
Archie's initiative was a natural 1.
Nice.
+1, so 2.
oh, I'm gonna switch to let's see, let's do well, I had just Rivertown that I was gonna switch to, but let's do something do my
Rivertown.
Mother Dragon
Well,
said Howl's Moving Bungalow.
because we're going to be in combat, my Dark Continent is my kind of go-to track for when fighting stuff.
Right.
You know what? Actually, let's do skirmish. Yeah.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
Did we ever rest?
No.
Good.
Well, she counted. You said something about like you reset all of our
So,
spells and everything.
When
so.
at the beginning of the session.
Okay.
So
Okay, that's
the conjure spells that you did, the water walk that you did,
Gotcha.
those are still
Cool.
okay.
Ish.
Alaric, what was your initiative?
7.
Amethyst?
7.
Yay, 7 squad.
Yay! Slow rolls.
All right.
Didn't we all roll well? Okay.
Okay.
12 seems to be the high one this time. So.
Near's gonna go first because Near always goes
Okay.
first.
Nira doesn't always go
Andri
first.
actually gets 16.
It's usually Amethyst.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
God, I hate going first. Jesus.
Andri gets a 16, and then the Houstra. Alright. Okay. It's gonna just roll
I love your artwork on that. It's
9.
great.
I know.
Okay. So it is actually Andri's turn first. And so she is... I need to get a different token for her. This one just doesn't read as anything but a silhouette. So incidentally, we've got a couple of buildings up here that it's stomping through, and these are basically great big mud puddles in the middle of kind of an open sort of square area. And so you can see that it's basically got this... You know, you see 5 heads emerging from the various openings in the house. And so Andri is going to kind of try to get around the side and take out one of the ones that's sort of more to the periphery. She's actually going to stay a little back and fire her short bow. 23 and a 13. The 23 hits, the 13 does not. 13 hits basically just the wooden frame of the house. Alright, so that's... I got my microphone standing in a bad place. It makes it hard to roll these dice. Alright. Okay. She does 7 damage with her arrow. Alright, that's Andri's turn. And Andri just does kind of point up at the upper window and says, yeah, she looks like she's very unhappy right now. Nira, you're up.
How high off the ground is that window?
We're going to say about 10 feet.
So if someone were to jump from it, they could be okay?
Well, yeah, maybe. But they would also kind of be jumping past a snapping reptilian jaws.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go be a big damn hero. Alright, I'm going to use the Cape of Montebank, and I am going to poof up to the little girl.
Okay. Poof. Are you poofing
I
like
cannot-
onto the roof near the window or like inside?
Inside, try to get behind her because I can see that. Right?
Okay.
I could-
All right, yeah, so you can kind of poof behind her. What you find immediately once you're sort of in there is that there's not really any more floor that would have been, the attic. Like, there's kind of rubble that is now kind of spread over the reptilian scaly back of this thing, and all these various moving, writhing necks. The girl has got her grip tight on the windowsill, which is how she was holding her position. So now that you have teleported in onto these writhing necks, I'm going to ask you to make a dexterity check, please. Or acrobatics.
Acrobatics.
Big damn hero roll.
Yeah, okay.
You got it.
Let's see. 17.
17. Yeah, so you are able to kind of keep your feet, but it will definitely be, you want to find something to hold on to if you're going to be here for any length of time.
Yeah, my idea was that I would kind of grab her and hold on to the windowsill, because I ideally want to jump out after someone takes out the nearest head so that I can get away clean.
Okay. So that was your action to teleport, though, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on, I'm going to try to zoom the camera in a little bit more. Doesn't look like it will actually zoom any more than that. That's okay. All right. So, that was Nira's turn. The Houstra is lurching around, and it's actually going to lurch in this direction and take a snap at a couple of these fleeing commoners. And in fact, actually, it lurches in this direction. It's going to, with its various heads, it's actually going to make a single attack against all 4 of these guys here. That's a 24, a 20, a natural 1, and a 14. So that's 3 hits for these ordinary commoners. All right. Ten damage for the first, 8 damage for the second, 9 damage for the third. So basically, you've got 3 very wounded civilians right now. None of them are, completely out, but yeah, they're not used to. They're not armored. They're not used to taking these sorts of wounds. This is all very scary for them. Actually, you know what? I just realized. No, yeah, you've got 3 unconscious. I had the hit points for commoners wrong. So basically, this thing has just chomped 3 people, and they look like they're gonna die.
Okay.
And so this thing is lurching around. It's not obvious. You get the feeling that some of the heads are trying to get this house off from the top of it, and others are not. They're not in agreement. So, yeah, basically got... So, I'm not going to say they are dead, but they have just taken what would be a mortal wound.
Alright.
So it is Alaric's turn.
So this seems like one of the bad ones then. Right. Kind of hoped it wasn't, but that's not the case anymore. I gotta draw my mighty little dagger. Let's see. It's kind of close to that one. The other 3 are, oh man, Nira can take care of herself.
You also saw when it attacked those that these heads can reach out a fair distance from the house thing here. They can stretch out like 10 feet.
That one that's directly in front of him, is that one of the ones that's down?
So think of them. Don't worry too much about like where on the house thing it's showing. That's just the artistic representation. So I would say that you can slash at or stab at a head wherever you're trying to go.
I'm gonna move towards the front so I can slash one of those front heads.
All right. And make your attack.
All right. Take this little dagger and stab it in. That's a terrible roll. That's an 11.
11. Unfortunately, as you sort of stab out with it, it moves away and you miss.
Okay. I will try again. That's what I do. Oop, that's gone. Oh, that actually is probably going to hit. 24.
24 will hit, yeah.
Ooh, okay. And because I have now, let me see.
You have an ally within 5 feet.
Well, I don't actually.
You have Nira standing on top of it.
She's 10 feet up.
It's within 5 feet of the creature.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll still get my sneak attack.
Okay.
I get it either way in this case.
All right. Fair enough.
Did that go up? That didn't go up. Where's my... everything has changed. The world has changed. Okay, yes, it did go up.
Oh, I didn't mean it for it to go back to down by the sea. We're still doing skirmish. Here we go.
So that is 17 points.
17 points of damage. All right.
And I will use my... my fancy footwork.
So hang on, let me 17 and Yeah. So with that stab, the head that you just stabbed like that, it basically the eyes go blank and it sort of flops over limp.
Ooh, okay.
Oh.
I will use my bonus action to disengage then, and I will continue to move around the house to try to defend the folks that have fallen.
Okay. So you're gonna go around this way.
Yep.
Try to get the, get the ones that have been bitten away.
Essentially, yeah.
All right. So Amethyst, you're up.
So I'm going to cast Entangle on it.
Okay.
It's a 20 by 20 foot square.
All right. Yeah, you can
And
basically do
it's-
it right underneath. It's gonna
Yeah.
be basically the entire space that it occupies, but
Yeah, I just want to lock it down so it can't roam around and
sure.
tear nobody up.
All right. So it makes a strength saving throw?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
It got 18.
yeah, it beats my DC.
It's
My
pretty
spell
big.
save DC. Yeah.
All right. Are you gonna move or do anything else?
Yeah, I want to move, like, to the corner of the house where Nira is.
Okay.
Like, just, yeah.
Well, so I mean, she's kind of in the middle between two corners, really.
Okay.
So and you don't really even see her. I mean, you can guess what she probably did, but you can't really see her through the window. You still see the girl's frightened face
Okay.
in the window, but you can kind of be close. You're
Yeah.
going to be in the range of the snapping jaws, though.
Okay.
All right.
Isn't she still a panda?
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess tell me, would you have stayed a panda? You guys you were kind of talking with
you cast a
Sislevic
spell,
when you landed,
right?
and you cast Pass
Yeah.
Without Trace. You would have had to turn back.
I just assumed that the hour ran out, or however long
You
it
can
was.
stay longer than an hour now, but you've spoken and cast a spell, so
Yeah,
you would have
yeah.
changed back. So,
Yeah.
all right. But you could turn into something else now, though, if you wanted.
I haven't decided yet. That's my problem.
That's fine. So you can stay there. That's okay.
Okay.
Otterkey!
Yes. I was just double checking my channel divinity. I couldn't remember if it was like a free action or a bonus action or an action.
Well, let's see. I don't remember. The channel divinity, I feel like, is usually an action unless it says that
Yeah,
it's
I
a
was
bonus
just
action.
reading through the player's guide, and it just says it's a thing you do. It doesn't say.
I think channel divinity would normally be where it would show up, but
It also depends on the specific channel
Yeah.
you're doing.
Gotcha. So here's my thought. My
yeah. So
thought was I
Abjure
wanted-
enemy is an action. Vow of enmity is a bonus action.
Gotcha. Oh, I see the descriptions of the specific things.
Yeah.
Okay. Roger. Okay. So yeah, so I am going to first move. I would like to move around behind the beastie away from the heads.
Okay. Staying out of its range.
Correct.
Okay, that's more than 10 feet. So you want to get like here, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I can get a clear, basically I want to attack its hindquarters,
Okay.
melee preferably.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you can get a shot at its, at its butt. I mean, it's mostly just its tail, because the rest of the meat of its haunches is, under the house part.
Okay. Yeah, I will charge up to melee the tail section.
All right. I feel like getting all the way around here is going to basically be your whole movement. But if
Gotcha.
you wanted to be, I mean, you can still like move up to that spot if that's where you want to be. I'm just saying
Yeah.
you don't go around like that and then up. You
Gotcha.
would have been skirting around it. But okay, yeah.
And then I'll head up there, and then I want to whisper my
J-
vow of enmity.
Just to be clear,
Mm-hmm.
the length of these necks as they're thrashing about, you are not like behind it where it can't reach you.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I just mean that would be obvious to you as you circle it, is that these necks can stretch out pretty long. And so if they wanted to, also it's
Okay.
not actually entangled, so it could just turn too.
That's fair. I've learned something. So,
All right.
but I'm going to whisper my vow of enmity to, which will give me, in my next turn, will give me advantage against
Well,
all my
that one
attacks
was a
for
bonus
minute.
action, so you can still do your attack.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And your
And okay.
advantage
cool.
on attack rolls for 1 minute.
So I cannot do. Okay, cool. Then my regular attacks with my longsword of righteousness. Do-do-do-do-do-do. 23.
23 hits.
9 points of damage. Next one is 12.
12, unfortunately, strikes the wooden planks that compose the cottage that this thing is encased within.
Okay, that's all for me.
All right. So we're back up top to Andri, and she is going to try to circle back around here and fire through the doorway at another one of the heads. That's an 11. That misses. That's 23. That'll hit. That's another 9 damage. Okay. Nira, you are up. You are currently standing on a bunch of writhing reptilian necks, clutching a terrified little girl.
Okay, so are any of the heads within the house, or are they kind of forced out because of the size?
You get the sense that they could retract in, but none of the mouths or the faces are currently in. They don't seem to be aware that there's something to eat inside.
Okay. So
Because there's a lot of just
going
debris from the inside of the house and the furniture that's sort of all over it back there, so
Right.
they don't seem to realize. There's no heads inside the house, is what I'm saying.
Okay. All right, got it. Okay, so did I see the villagers get hit?
I don't think so. You had already teleported inside.
Okay.
You
so
could have heard
I
the screams, though.
Okay,
You
so
you probably heard screaming, but there was a lot of screaming and chaos already. So I don't think
Right.
you don't know for sure.
right, because I wouldn't know who to cast
Right.
the healing on. Okay. Shit. I want to hold my action because the idea is to protect the little girl, and I don't know that I can get her down safely.
Okay.
Um,
What is the action and what is the trigger? What would trigger it?
if the creature moves to strike me or the little girl, like if there's a head in my face, then yes. Okay, you know what? I'm going to cast Holy Weapon on
Okay.
my.
On your warhammer.
Yeah, I'm not holding the action.
Okay.
Aw.
Does
I
that?
am casting Holy Weapon.
Okay.
On my warhammer.
All right. So what does that? Does that do something right away?
It gives me a magical boost basically, and it provides like a. Hold on, I just had it up. It gives me 2d8 radiant damage on a hit if I hit something, or if I dismiss the spell. It lets off this burst of light, and any creature that fails the save has to take 48 radiant damage and is blinded for a minute.
All right. That's kind of a lot of stuff. Okay, so I assume you're doing that, and then you're attacking with the Warhammer.
Well, because
now,
it does says it's a bonus action.
Yeah, the casting the spell is a bonus action.
Um,
So you could do.
can
your
I
attack.
then? Can I hold a rate? Because I don't want to attract its attention where it does attack.
Okay, I mean you can still hold the action if you want.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I can use the bonus action and withhold the regular action.
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That I'm going to do that. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Alaric, that head that you saw fall limp suddenly starts to seem to dissolve and rot away, and then emerging from the muck that it was rotting into, 2 new heads.
Shit.
How does that scene from Hercules go? Stop cutting off the heads!
And look, I made extra heads.
Oh, thank goodness.
I'm so fantastic you made enough.
Love it. Love
So
it.
yeah, so now it has 6 heads.
She always
Not my
goes the
fault.
extra mile. It's
Doesn't
amazing.
she have?
It's not my fault. Maybe
Okay.
it is.
So what the fuck?
So I'm going to say this guy would have gotten an opportunity to try to run,
Okay.
but it was going to get an opportunity attack against him.
On Forest.
Yeah, and that was another. That's going to hit,
Oh.
and then yeah, and that's another lethal blow. He does not get away.
Poor little guy.
Yeah.
Should've
However, I'll say that all of the other commoners in the area have now gotten clear.
Flee, you fool.
But now, so that was its reaction as the commoner tried to flee. But so now it's going to start attacking. So Archie, you're going to get 2. Amethyst is going to get 2, and Alaric are going to get 2.
Bring it.
All right. So
My indecision gets me.
so Archie, you first.
Okay.
That's a 23,
Hits.
and an 11 is the second one. So
Misses.
okay. So that's 12 piercing damage.
Oops.
Okay.
I started adding instead of subtracting. Okay.
Okay.
And I want to use my retribution. My
Okay, yeah.
Fire retribution, which
Okay.
is Hellish Rebuke. Is what do I roll? So second level 3d10.
Okay.
Fire. Fire. I'm looking for my 10-sided dice. I've got all my, like, most of my attacks are 1d8, so
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of 1d8 stacked up. I gotta find my 10s. 3, 5. So 11 points of fire damage.
Okay. All right. So it sort of snaps out at you, and then your hellish rebuke fire ripples along your skin and burns up, and it you hear its flesh sizzling as it serpent-like head
Back
thrashes
east.
away from you. All right, you're getting attacked too, Amethyst.
Yep.
That's a 27.
Well, that beats my armor class.
Yeah, and then and then a 12. So that's probably
Nope.
another one hit.
One hit.
That's just 6 points of piercing damage to you.
Hey, Amethyst, those bracers that you have, aren't they like thorny
Bracers
or
of the
something?
thorns.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have
That.
retributions.
Yeah,
They
you,
have-
what I was
you haven't
thinking.
been taking very many melee hits in a while, but
So I am extruding spectral thorns.
That sounds
Um,
painful.
So 2d6. Let's see. 3. Should have gotten the full sleeves of thorns. Sleeves of the thorns.
all right. Okay, and then 2 against you, Alaric.
Yep.
That's an 18
Oh yeah.
and a 17.
Oh, can I react with shield?
Yeah.
I will react with shield.
All
It gives
right.
me 19 AC.
Okay, so both of those slashing bites ricochet off the magical spectral field of energy that pops around you. Shwing.
Cool.
Okay, that's its turn. Alaric, it is your turn now.
All right. I look at my dagger. Look at the 2 heads it's created. And go, damn it. All right. I'm not so good at this, but I'll give it a try. Put the dagger away. Form the hands into a tight ball. Mutter a few words that I barely understand, and I will send a chromatic orb of fire at it.
Okay,
I don't think I can. 23.
23
hit.
will hit. Yeah.
Oh. I'm so afraid of using this because I have so few spells. That is 16 points of fire damage.
All right. This chromatic orb shoots out from your hands and strikes and burns sizzling of flesh away from one of these serpent-like necks, and it shrieks in pain, and the building catches fire.
Hey, I got it. Oh, crap. Get out of the building.
Thanks, dude.
Get out of the
He's
building.
helping.
Here I thought it was safe to be inside.
How can it be safe to be inside?
Are you
not where the
trying to
heads
move
are.
or anything, or are you just staying right there?
I will.
Do help more.
Still not.
Is there? Wait. It's a house, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can I run into the house?
it's kind of full.
I'm gonna try.
It wasn't a big house.
All house.
I will use my bonus to disengage,
All right.
and I will step back 15 feet. Hopefully, it doesn't have that.
Yeah,
long
you're
of a-
pretty sure you're out of its range unless it moves.
good.
All right,
Sheesh.
Amethyst.
So I thought I knew what I was gonna do. So how big's the fire?
The fire is not very big yet. It's
So-
basically just a little patch of the splintered wood around one of the windows is now kind of smoldering and burning a little bit. There's smoke.
Smoke, not flames.
Well, no, you see flames. It's gonna spread. It's just not
Okay.
big yet.
So I'm gonna cast Create Water on it, which is 10 gallons of water as rain in a 30-foot cube. But I want to condense that just so it just plops on top of the fire.
Okay.
Is that sufficient to?
Yeah, I'm gonna have you sort of just
Direction.
shift around this way, just so you're sort of more line of sight of that area. No opportunity attack because you're just shifting, but yeah,
Cool.
sploosh with that create water, and then yeah.
Sweet.
I just made that.
I made it rain. Sorry.
And with a puff of steam, the fire goes out.
So then I would like to shift into Giant Eagle.
Giant eagle. I need to make a giant eagle token for you. I don't have one yet, so.
New shape, new shape.
New shape.
Woot!
All right.
Lion girl.
I know, right?
All right. Let's see. All right.
Do I have any movement
Like
left?
an eagle to the sky.
I will. I think I will.
It's always a special moment when a droid gets their wings.
Yay!
So you're flying like an eagle, but if you try to fly away, you're going to get opportunity attacks, and you're actually going to get 3 opportunity attacks.
If I try to fly away, but if I try to fly up above, like where Nira is,
If you're trying to fly
away?
well,
Don't worry about that. I have a plan.
I guess if you just fly up to the windowsill, you're sort of still in melee range, but you won't take the opportunity attacks if that's what you want. Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm intrigued by what she's saying. I kind of want to see it firsthand.
Okay. So, I mean...
Yeah, I'll fly up.
Alright. You're sort of a big target right now.
Yeah. I'm huge!
Yep. Alright.
Well, this could work out okay, so...
Okay, Archie, your turn. You're kind of... You got a big eagle sort of over your head. You're sort of around the back.
Feeling kind of full, but I'll try and hold it.
You, on this side, you see 2 of these commoners that have been bitten and seem to be bleeding unconscious.
Okay. I'm gonna cast haste upon myself,
Alright.
and I'm going to take multiple swipes on this bad guy
Alright.
with my new haste. So haste, +2 to AC and Dex checks, and double my actions. So first attack. 22.
22 will hit.
Or 10 points of damage.
Okay. You see one of the heads that was kind of reaching around to try to snap at you. You basically like chop its face off. The neck falls limp.
The second one's 28 against AC.
28. Yeah.
14 points of damage.
There's gonna be so many heads.
Heads will roll, and then sprout the heads.
Oh, Nira's not even working. I didn't see that,
Third
Nira.
one.
You have no idea. You've got your hands full.
Third one hits
Literally, I
for
have a warhammer and a little girl.
I know. Don't you worry. We're pretty well ahead about this. Tiefling.
third hits for 9 points of damage.
Okay. Yeah, you're tearing this thing up. Like it's you've done some substantial damage to it now. It's bleeding heavily from the rear end here.
Oops. And my final blow hits 23 or 12 points of damage.
Dang. Get it, Tiefling?
So another one of these heads. You didn't even slash this one, but you see somehow it looks like it's like getting faint and a little pale, like it's not getting enough blood.
Nice.
And so now there's 2 of these heads that have been eliminated. Oops. Oh, I taped that one. Never mind. I'm not gonna. I'll know
they're coming back.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, it was 6 and 2 are dead. So it has 4 heads right now. All right, Andrew's turn. She is. Let's see. Just gonna keep firing arrows at it. It's a 17, which thunks into the wooden frame around the door as it moves. And then that's a 21. That'll hit. That's another 10 damage. All right. Nira.
All right.
All right. It seems to all the heads seem to be distracted with stuff outside.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I am going to use the bonus action first, and I am going, because the holy weapon is a concentration thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I dismiss the spell, each creature of my choice that I can see within 30 feet of me must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 48 radiant damage and it's blinded for 1 minute.
Okay.
So a successful save, it's half damage and isn't blinded.
I love it.
Right?
All right. So it makes a Constitution save, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So that's an 11, but
15 is what it
but
but
it has so many heads. It rolls with advantage against being blinded.
okay.
Nice.
But that's still only a 10. So, yeah. So basically, it does not make the save. So you're dismissing the spell, and it is
Yes,
so 48 radiant damage, and it is blinded.
48, yes. So it is 22 damage for dismissing the spell. And
Okay.
It's blinded. And
Yeah. So as you release this spell, basically, what all the rest of you see is that suddenly from inside this house, it's just incredibly intense white light just pouring out from all of these different openings, and through the gaps in the planks, and through holes in the roof, and it silhouettes all these different necks, and it sort of screams and lurches, and all of a sudden, as the light fades, you realize that the eyes of all of these snake heads are sort of blinking and dazed.
is it dead?
Nope.
Not dead. Okay.
It is lurching around, very disoriented.
Okay. So. So my plan. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I am going to cast Banishment
Okay.
just to get rid of it, so we can get out of the house.
It might be structurally relevant to the house. You be careful.
Well, we have a giant eagle right there. So,
In case of
Banishment.
emergency, roll down.
All right.
Giant eagle.
Rushama, take this creature from my sight.
All right. Wait, what save does it make?
No, I know.
I wanna
It's
say
a
Banishment.
charisma.
All right. Haustra is not very charismatic, surprisingly.
I noticed.
I had a
I
way
don't
with
know, it seemed so charming.
That's a 6.
And it needed a 15.
So,
Poof.
a couple of things are going to happen here. The Hydra, or the Haustra, rather, is suddenly vanishing from inside this. Let me just.
I'm so sorry I had to destroy your work.
No, this is as intended. But I'm just.
Not much left to this place.
Okay.
It's not structurally sound. We know
It's
this.
probably gonna come back, so y'all be prepared.
Okay.
How long?
So
1 minute.
yeah. So
Oh, that's
basically,
forever.
this
Long
thing
enough to get out of the
disappears
house.
from inside the cottage, but this little girl who's been sort of hanging half out the window, clutching to the windowsill, near this you as a giant eagle. I'm gonna have you make a dexterity saving throw, Viv, to see if you can try to catch this girl before she falls. Now that
I still have an arm around her too, so
Okay.
18.
well, see, you are no longer supported by anything other than this arm around her, Nira. Okay.
We'll deal with you in
Okay.
a
I
moment.
said I had a plan. It didn't necessarily mean it was a good plan.
Okay,
Which
so
is why I was up there. I rolled an 18.
all right,
got a
so
backup plan.
I think this girl is going to suddenly kind of yell in alarm because Nira is holding an arm around her, but is now falling.
Right.
Whereas the giant eagle has grabbed her arm through the window. So,
Delicately.
Nira, if you continue to hang on, you're going to be basically hanging from this girl who's held by the arm.
Can I yell out?
I'm gonna let her go because
Okay.
that's not.
Oh.
The whole point here was to save the girl.
All right. So, Amethyst, you are able to pull the girl out through the window with your talons gently around her arm, and you're sort of holding her kind of up by one arm. Nira, make an acrobatics check.
Is she falling?
She's falling.
There's
But
not
it's
much
not
falling.
falling. It's
Standing
only
on.
like 10 feet.
Yeah.
She's a big damn hero that's falling. That's what's happening.
I don't want her to break concentration.
Actually, I did pretty well, so I got a 21.
Okay. You managed to land on your feet in the rubble within what
Superhero.
remains of this house now.
3 points.
So
Landon?
do I still have movement? Can I get out the door?
Yeah.
Before it sits on your head.
Exactly.
All right.
I mean, then I'd be Wrath of the Storming from inside, so that didn't go so well with the rug.
All right. So we'll say you've got the girl Amethyst. Okay. So that was its turn. It is temporarily banished. So it misses its turn. Alaric, you've just seen it just disappear from inside of the house here.
I'm going to keep my guard up just in case it's invisible
Just
or
realized
otherwise.
your little guy is off the map there.
I'll move up to where the house is,
Okay.
dagger in hand, ready to go.
All
I'll
right.
hold my action in case it appears.
Okay. Amethyst, you've got this little girl. You're still kind of flying, but you've saved her from falling.
Right. So I'm gonna go over to wherever there's a group of people, like the townspeople.
As you sort of fly kind of over in this direction, a woman very purposefully comes up like,
Okay, so that's where I'm headed.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
okay.
drop the little girl off to that ship.
yeah, and that woman, hugs her tight, tears streaming down her face.
Cool. So then, if I have any movement left, I'll go back over by Andrea.
Okay. All
Because
right.
I'm fast as an eagle,
Yep. Fast as an eagle.
right? It's like 60 feet.
Flying to a tree.
All right. Archie.
Aww.
Archie shall get
Really? That's a free action, but it takes some time.
right.
I was wrong. Eagles have a flight speed of 80 feet.
They're pretty fast.
80.
So in a minute, these beasts shall return. I'm going to lay hands on myself
Okay.
and
As you
restore my.
stand over this bleeding, unconscious townsfolk, you lay hands on yourself. Okay.
Yep.
That's okay, I got it. I'll take care of it, it's cool.
12 points.
All right.
It's that whole like air mask, oxygen mask on an airplane.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
Sure.
it's really all we've been taught.
All right. So that's an action to do that. I think.
Yeah, I
Hands?
think it is an action.
All right. Are you
Yeah.
moving anywhere or staying right there?
I'm gonna wait.
Okay. It's Andrew's turn. She is basically holding her action with the arrows. Well, I think she'll kind of nod to you, Nira, and just kind of say, "Is it coming back?"
Likely.
Likely.
She has her arrows ready, so she's holding her action. So it's your turn, Nira.
I am going to cast Mass Healing Word on all the peoples. Mostly the down villagers, but if anybody else has taken damage,
I think you can do up to 6.
it is up to 6, yes.
So there were 4 villagers that took a bite, but as your spell kind of reaches out, only
They get
2 of
5.
them seem receptive to healing.
Uh-oh. Wait, I thought we had like 3 rounds before they were dead.
That's for PCs, not for
Oh,
not for
damage, too.
commoners who
shit.
are not armored and are not tough guys like you.
Good job, Chooch. All right. Well, the ones that didn't
Right.
die, they
So
get 5.
you can all offer healing to 4 additional.
Anybody else need it?
Yeah, I'll take 6.
Five.
Amethyst got hit.
Good.
5.
Okay, so as you send that healing energy, these two suddenly lurch awake and scramble away from the house to safety. These two
I'm gonna
stay,
back up a
stay where
little
they
bit
are.
from the house too, because
Okay,
not in melee range.
sure.
I've already been as close as I want to get.
Yep. All right, Alaric.
Nira, is it coming back in the same place it left?
If it comes back, yes. Which
Okay.
it is likely coming back. I think it's from this plane.
I'm dashing into the house.
All right.
Damn.
I'm looking for a torch.
Inside!
I'm looking for a torch that I can
A
light
torch?
with prestidigitation. Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, make a perception check because you're essentially looking through all of the rubble of what used to be in this house.
Couldn't you just light the outside on fire?
23. Technically, I can only light a torch.
It has to be a torch.
Well, it's prestidigitation, right? It's you can light a torch, a candle.
You find a candle.
Okay. I quickly light it with prestidigitation and I start running like a madman, lighting the place on fire.
All right. So I think the rest of you kind of see him run into the house for unknown reasons, and after a little while, smoke starts to come out.
Pretty sure the house is a write-off.
Amethyst. Yeah, this house, I mean, not only is it largely ruined, but it's also not even where it's supposed to be anymore. So,
Oh, I'll use my bonus action to get out.
Okay.
If I can.
well, okay, I'm going to say if you want this fire to catch, you're going to have to stay in there for at least a round.
All right.
Okay. All right, Amethyst.
So I'm just gonna hold my action. It's a dual attack as an eagle with multi-attack. I mean, so I've got a beak and a talon attack that I'm gonna hold, and when it's visible again, I'm gonna pop at it.
Okay. So, Archie.
Yeah. A minute is such a long time.
Yeah.
Well, we could fast.
You
forward
can
a little
release.
bit, but-
Well,
What
you
are
can
we
also
doing?
you can release it sooner if you want. It doesn't
Just wait
have
a
to
while.
be gone for a minute. You just you can keep it gone for as long as a minute or whenever you
Well,
want it. To come
but
back.
Alaric is in the house, and I think that's probably a bad idea.
I'm just
15
saying you don't
seconds.
have to wait for a full minute. You just wait
Well,
however long.
but I mean, if it
Yes.
stays gone,
As
you never
free
know.
action, I can say, so what are we doing?
You know that it will only stay gone if it is not native to this plane.
Right, and I'm pretty sure it's native to this plane. so. Okay, well, I'm gonna wait until he gets out of the house. And
Okay.
Any more curing needed?
Too late for that.
Okay, so I'm
So-
gonna hold my action, and as soon as it springs back to life, I will
Right.
attack
So
it.
what we'll say is, if you are waiting to release the banishment for Alaric to come out, and if everyone else is holding their action, then what
Yeah.
we'll say is we'll just go ahead and zip to that point in time where Alaric has come out. He used his action to make sure the fire was catching.
All right.
And give it a warm welcome.
So if I release it,
Significant
does-
flames, and both so Archie and Andri and Amethyst all have their held actions to attack as soon as it appears again.
okay, well, poof.
All right,
No more
we're all attacking with advantage because it is blind. The house just explodes around it. Fiery debris raining down all over it.
Sorry, save it through to dodge the debris.
As it reappears. And so let's go ahead and let's see. Andri had her held action first. That's a 1. But with advantage, it's a 17. It's still not good enough. Actually, without the house, it is good enough.
No more house shields.
Armor class.
That's another
Paulette
10.
did have a genuine question about
Oh,
the
yeah?
armor of the house.
Okay. Yeah, I was, I definitely, siding armor. I ruled, just for everybody's, edification, I ruled that it got a +3 to armor class from being inside the house.
Half cover. Yeah.
So yeah, Andri does 10 points of damage to it, but for her attacks. Amethyst, I'll let you go ahead and do yours, and then Archie's gonna swing away, I'm sure.
I critted on my talons.
Ooh.
So that makes 4d6 plus 3.
Mhm.
No, plus 6.
It's
So,
looking pretty bad now.
12, 20, 26
Wow.
slashing. And then I also get a beak attack. 18.
18 hits.
Sweet. And that's 9 points of piercing damage.
And so, basically, this is what happens. You, as your giant eagle, are just clawing and tearing away. Andrea had fired her arrows into it, and then Archie, just as you're getting ready to swing away and stab this thing and slash, it just flops over dead.
Take that, house monster.
If initiative drops, I slow into my torpor since I had haste.
Yes. Yes, it is clearly dead, and so it's, lying down, with the flaming debris kind of around it and on it, but it's obviously dead, and a big crowd of townsfolk have been all around it, and they all cheer, except for these two who are dead. So.
Over, lift their arm up. Yeah. Oh. Weekend at Bernie's with those guys. Yeah.
So I want to shift back into human form and just examine what we were fighting.
Okay. You realize that as you're, make a nature check.
17.
You realize that this looks, as you examine it, the fact that it didn't disappear when you killed it suggests that it was not itself a spirit,
Right.
but it was obviously transformed in some way through magic, likely. And now that it is dead, it seems to be decaying fairly rapidly.
Okay.
So
Anybody
it
know
looks
who-
like it was perhaps a snake or a lizard of some kind that was just monstrously transformed into this thing.
The
Anybody
druid
know
in me
whose
was
house?
curious. The little girls, probably.
There's very little left of the house, but as it becomes obvious that it's dead, the girl and her mother does approach all of you and just say, "Thank you. The house is just a house, but you saved my daughter."
Well, I'm glad we could help. I'm glad she's safe.
Have you seen anything more like that around?
Like this? No, but it's crazy. I don't know what's happening. There's chaos. I don't know why the spirit's allowing it.
No idea. This is crazy.
Crazy. What the heck?
Yeah, about that.
Incidentally, just because, Nira, I think by now you would have realized that 2 of the people that were bit have died, and were not receptive to your healing word spell.
Oh.
Juju.
Archie's gonna use divine sense again and see if there's anything nearby that's specifically causing chaos.
Don't have that spell equipped.
Uh-oh. Well,
no.
never mind then.
Yeah, I don't have raised dead. Damn it.
So I want to
I
open
blinded
my
the
divine
beast.
sense and see if there's anything else that's causing this.
A woman runs up to this guy and she's just saying, Gerald, wake up, wake up.
Yeah.
Help him tomorrow.
Let me take a nap. And I can help the other one sort of tomorrow. Let's go take a nap. I didn't hear you say anything. What you said.
Wait.
Well, I was saying I wanted to do my divine sense again.
Oh,
to see
okay.
if there's anything
You
causing the chaos.
kind of just reach out and there's spiritual energy in a chaotic mix all around you. You don't detect any specifically evil, like fiends per se, but they're just spirits all over, and clearly some of them are hostile.
Okay. So
All right.
apparently,
So
our diffusion extended past the lake itself. There's powers all around.
Nira, with your previous 24 on your religion check, as I mentioned that the people would have the ability to sort of shape it. I mean, by the same token, a lot of the spirits are going to be attracted to the mortal creatures that could provide that shaping. And so it seems clear that a lot of the spirits created by this dispersion of energy have been drawn here to where all the people are.
Seeking worshippers.
And it's chaotic because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Nobody think of a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Please don't.
So I think, though, that this is a good time to go ahead and call it for tonight.
I knew we weren't going to get anywhere new because there was just too much that she was going to throw at us. I just
Got away from
knew
all the
it.
crap and nope.
It's like, oh yeah, we'll go to Villanocta, we'll go to dinosaurs, all this. No, we're not going anywhere.
Since Lebec asked where you wanted to go.
It's true.
True.
But congratulations, you defeated the Houstra.
Yay!
I was really wondering how many heads it was going to have by the time we were done.
I know.
Well, see, your chromatic orb ruined that. It only regrows the heads when it has not taken fire damage.
So burning down the house also did good.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that
Just
was
let them
the
rage.
fire damage
Burning down the house.
was effective.
But didn't Archie strike it earlier with the?
I did my retribution.
Yeah.
Your hellish rebuke, but the chromatic orb was actually first, I think. Well, okay, one or the other was first. I don't remember which, but whichever one was first.
Matter in the end.
I mean, like by the
Truth.
time it had happened once, it was not that many rounds. It happened once and then again, and so it was not
I
going to
only-
grow any more heads. But the thing, it all progressed pretty fast from there, anyway.
I only get 3 spells a day. I try to make them useful.
Yeah. All right. Well, so thank you guys for playing, and thank you guys in the chat, Mother Dragon, Prince Justin. Always good to have you. And we'll be back maybe next week, hopefully. Anyone know that they can't do it next week?
Yes.
I will not be here next week, sadly.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And in the meantime, though, we'll be back for adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.
Woo!